Hi, welcome to Manas Shil YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Tensura Volume 20. Chapter 1. The First Battle. Milim's Rage. As far as this battlefield was concerned, she had given strict orders to her demons to recover the souls of the dead, so she was able to cope with this scale of damage. Even so, if they had been hit by a powerful and wide-range attack like a bear's great destructive technique, the casualties would have been so great that they would have been irreversible. The fact that they were able to rejoice together like this was a great victory for them. I will be stronger. The legendary demons I had been told about were more like monsters that didn't understand the human mind, but when we actually talk to each other like this, it's surprising how well we can communicate. It's a little late for that, isn't it? Carrere laughs at Midley's frankness. Seeing Carrere, Midley smiled at her. If you are aiming for strength, I can't lose either. If your body is weak after a little bit of exertion, you are still lacking in kung fu. Haha. You've already mastered it, but you still want to train harder than that. Of course not. I have to push my mind and body to the limit so that I can give it my all for a longer period of time. Carrere Dono would be a good partner for me, don't you think? Good. I've been thinking of training my body more, which was given to me by Millard. I am willing to take you up on your offer. Carrere and Midley shook hands firmly. Since both of them have the same goal of aiming higher, there is no reason for them to refuse the offer. Milim joins the conversation in her usual fashion. That's not fair. You're cheating. She was full of joy and was very nonchalant. Hey, Milim, don't you need to get stronger? Yes. Milim-sama is the strongest, so she doesn't need any special training, does she? Carrere is also the best, but there is always a better one. It is a well-known fact that Milim is out of his league, and Carrere understood it as much as she could after she came here and started to hang out with Milim. Even so, Carrere is still one of the better ones, and can respond to most of the crazy requests with a smile, but this is not the case with Midley. Unlike Carrere, Midley was trying to be very serious and reserved. However, Milim did not understand her. Wahaha. What are you talking about? I will not allow myself to be left out of the fun. And so, she decided to join the event. Gopta was the one who read the situation. He sensed the danger. When Gopta saw Milim coming down from the sky, he overheard what was going on. He sensed something disturbing in the conversation. He sensed that he would be forced to join the group, and decided to make a strategic retreat. It was an excellent assessment of the situation. I'm going to report my victory. And he straddled the united Ranga and ran away from the scene like the wind. It can be said that Ranga's constant attention to the situation around him and his willingness to keep abreast of useful information saved Gopta's life. Ranga trusts Gopta. His ability to foresee danger had helped him many times, so he followed Gopta's advice without any doubt here. As a result, Ranga also succeeded in escaping. As for the others. What do you mean? Milim, are you trying to drag me into this? Not only Midley and Carrere, who were the first to be captured, but also Carrion and Free, were forced to join the war against their will. Thus, it seemed that the war in this region had ended without any fatal damage, although it had caused a great deal of damage. Blizzard, freeze everything and put it to sleep. As if aiming for the moment when everyone was caught off guard, the world turned white. A blizzard of despair swirled from the outer edges of the battlefield to the center, encircling everyone so that no one would escape. No way, you are. Milim was the first to notice, but by then it was too late. She had been completely caught off guard. Not many people can fool a cunning demon lord like Milim. But it was an impossible feat for Velzard the Frost Dragon, the eldest sister of the true dragon. It's been a long time, Milim. What are you doing, Velzard? Yes, I'm here to see my lovely niece. I need your help with something. Don't you dare. If you're going to ask me for a favor, you should behave accordingly. Now get rid of that blizzard. Then we'll talk. Milim, holding back her anger, intimidates Velzard. If they did not, their friends would be in danger. In fact, those on the outer rim are already frozen into icicles. They are not dead, but even their vital activities have ceased. It sounds good to say that they are in a state of suspended animation, but their lives will be destroyed at the will of Velzard. Milim understands this. She was caught completely off guard at the moment when she was relaxed, right after the fight to the death with Zelanis. Free felt more threatened than Milim. If Milim became furious and stormed out, this area would be burned to ashes. If that happened, the scale of damage would be unimaginable, and they did not even know how many people would survive. I have to make a decision. Free decided that it would be dangerous for Milim to let Velzard do what she wanted now. The longer she delayed, the worse the situation would become. Thinking this way, Free sent an order to the heavenly host without Milim's approval. Strike Velzard. With that voice as a signal, the heavenly shoguns moved in unison. No one knows the terror of Velzard. Everyone was prepared to die in this suicide attack. Milim, their beloved master, is too kind to the point of fatality. The more people who fall asleep as ice sculptures, the more Milim's patience will reach its end. Once that happened, there was no way out. Even now, she is forced to endure, out of consideration for Free and the others. If the situation worsened any further, they would have no choice but to follow Velzard's lead for fear of sacrifice. To Free's knowledge, the only time Milim fought seriously was when she clashed with Guy, long before Free was born, to destroy the country. If Milim fights seriously with the intention of killing her opponents without worrying about the cost to her allies, she will never have a hard time against any opponent. Yet, Milim always did not fight seriously. In other words, they have become Milim's stumbling block. Because of this kind Milim, Free moved so that they would not be a burden to Milim. Damn, we're late. You guys can run away if you want to, but if you're going to stay, you'd better be prepared. One crisis after another. And this time it's the ant of our lord. I don't like a war we can't win, but for Milim Sama's sake, we can't whine about it. Carrion announced, and Midley followed him with a laugh. Of course, no one left the Flying Beast cavalry. The priestly order, led by Hermes, had also abandoned their role as medics, and switched to battle mode. Thus, Milim's men rushed to Velzard at once. Hey, you guys, stop. Get out of here now. As if to drown out Milim's screams, a flurry of magic and air bullets were concentrated on Velzard. Milim Sama's loved. I wish I could have served you earlier. A bear mutters to herself. The battle with Peliot had burned her to the ground, and she was running out of energy. However, a bear stood up again and stared at Velzard firmly. Velzard is an absolute force to be reckoned with. Frankly speaking, the probability of winning was zero. Free could not have been unaware of this, and if she had only wanted to survive, she would have ordered her army to break up and leave the scene. The reason why she did not do so may be. Fufu, she's a cunning one, isn't she? I didn't dislike her before, but I admire her determination. Free's goal is to get Milim to abandon his doubts. If they are killed by Velzard, Milim will have no reason to hesitate. Free made a split-second decision that if Milim survived, it was alright. Carrion and Midley followed her. Their subordinates also made the choice to share their fate without hesitation. They all loved Milim. Abera was the same way, so she could understand their feelings. She respected those who had made the same decision as those she had lost, and she too was prepared for this place of death. Carrere, who remained here, was also thinking about what she should do in this situation. An endurance battle against a flawless Velzard was impossible. Velzard was not as gentle as Valgrand. There was no way for Carrere to win against Velzard, and it depended on their luck whether they could escape from this place or not. However, escape is not an option in Carrere. It is no use. I should go along with them, even though it would mean disobeying Millard's order. Velzard Sama is no problem for them. Let's give it our best shot. Well, the decision was made quickly. It would be a good disaster for Carrere's men, but none of them could escape from this place anyway. Victory over Velzard was the only way out. However, everyone understood that this would never happen. Therefore, the only thing Carrere and the others could do was to lead the souls of the many dead who would emerge from this place, and keep them away from the true death. Get fired up, boys. Don't let anyone slip through your fingers. Carrere's words were met with a collective nod of approval from her men. Now there was no more time for recovery. The demons give up their incarnated bodies and return to their original forms of spiritual life. Although their influence on the material world will be reduced, it is more rational for them to lead the dead. Thus, in a very short time, everyone is ready. But the next moment, the cold intention of "you're stupid" echoed in the minds of all those present on the battlefield. It was a quiet voice, drowned by the blizzard, but it carried a huge wave of thoughts. Perhaps in response to the voice, the blizzard turned into a blizzard whiteouting the battlefield. It was an unreasonable violence. A supernatural disaster of such an unimaginable scale appeared on the battlefield that the concept of resistance is laughable. Now, go to sleep. The white ice and snow are raging. Soldiers are the first to be transformed into icicles. Then the captains, and even the top brass. Only a few are left. Only those who had reached the million class level remained. But it was only a matter of time. Witnessing the hopelessness of the situation, Free prepared for her death. Carrion and Midley did the same. The only reason they are still standing is that Milim is protecting them. If not, Free and the others would have been completely destroyed by the energy that Velzard had unleashed a long time ago. As a proof of this, Carrere, who was located at a short distance from Milim, was unable to even shed her body, and her movements were blocked. Carrere, the king of demons, was like that. Her men are no different. And, needless to say, the heavenly shoguns under Free, the flying horsemen under Carrion, and Midley's men, the priests and priestesses, are all under Free's control. The priests and warriors under Carrion, Midley's men, and others had all been wiped out by the ice sculptures. Velzer did not even attack them. This blizzard was merely a release of her supremacy. For those who understood this, the phenomenon was a feeling of helpless despair. Milim, who is protecting Free, is unable to move. If Milim abandons Free and the others, their fate is doomed at that moment. Oh, sweet Milim. You're sweetie after all. I love you. Free thought sincerely. Free felt a gaze on him and turned her attention to Carrion, who was smiling wickedly at her. Midley let out a big sigh and nodded to Carrion. A bear was praying silently. She seemed to be apologizing to someone. Sorry, guys. It was the image of those who had made their decision. You're ready, aren't you? Yeah. Let's set them all off at once with as much flair as we can. Yes. If we're going to fall anyway, let's give Milim Sama one last show of bravery. I finally understand how my men feel now. Yes, I do. They didn't die in vain. Then I'll have to bring them some bragging rights too. The 4 heavenly kings under Milim were united in that moment. And then... Wait for me. They acted faster than Milim could stop them. The coordination among the 4 of them was nothing short of brilliant. As if they had been warriors for 1,000 years, they closed in on Velzard with a series of blows without a moment's margin of error. But alas, all of them were not enough. I'm glad, really. You were as strong as I expected you to be, that's why I was able to deal with you without any madness. Velzard smiled and remained standing there coldly. In front of her, 4 new ice sculptures were born. At the same time, Milim's expression freezes. It is an expression in which all the other emotions have fallen away, leaving only one. In other words, a look of rage. Milim was furious because his friends had been taken from her. I will not forgive you. You took my friend. I will never forgive you. Milim's cry pierced the battlefield. At the same time, Milim's ultimate skill Wrath King, Satinel, begins to work at full power. Taking in the surrounding magicules and pouring in all of her mana, she continues to create more and more power. Fueled by the rage and magicules generated by Milim, it is the ultimate power that multiplies more and more magicules. The magicule multiplying furnace so powerful that it cannot be used is the true nature of the ultimate skill Wrath King, Satinel. The magicule that is fed as fuel is reduced to further power. They were literally multiplying. As long as this is activated, the amount of magicule in Milim will continue to increase rapidly. Moreover, no matter how much she consumes, it never decreases, which is the ultimate power. The name of the dragon princess, the bastard child of Veldanava, was not an exaggeration. Milim, the demon lord, was the one who controlled the infinite power of one individual. And again, Milim roars loudly. At that moment, the heavens shook and the earth shattered. The mythical great armor that envelops Milim's body changes into a hideous shape, as if it were responding to her passion. It does not protect Milim from the outside enemy, but rather keeps her from being defeated by the power within. The overflowing torrent of power fuses with the armor, transforms it, and covers Milim's entire body. Milim's transformation is complete. On her back were a pair of jet black wings. A single red horn sprouted from her forehead, shining in iridescent colors. The rest of her bare skin was covered with hard, shining dragon scales with mysterious patterns and dull, shifting colors. This is the true form of Milim. This was the true form of the dragon princess, who, despite being a human being, had a power in her body that surpassed that of the true dragon, and manifested as the embodiment of absolute destruction. Oh my, this is the second time I've seen you like this. Since we're here, shall I play with you for a while? I'll kill you. There was no one left to stop Milim. Heaven and earth rumbled with the wrath of the ancient demon lord. Immediately thereafter, the world is once again exposed to the wrath of Magin, the ultimate dragon. Velzard's on the move. Feldway nodded back at Vega, who was staring at the video with a pallid expression on his face. Damn, Demon Lord Milim and Zelanis are even more powerful than I thought they would be. Damn, they're powerful as hell. If they can laugh at that, it means that Velzard is not as strong as I am now. Even Vega seemed to have realized the reality of the situation when he saw Milim and Zelanis fighting. No matter how confident Vega was, he could at least understand the difference between Milim and Zelanis. Don't be so sad. I too have my own feelings when I heard that our longtime enemy, Insector, has been destroyed. This is Ilario, who has just been recalled. The Milim forces had won a victory against a powerful enemy that had tormented them so much. Moreover, despite the heavy damage, there were no casualties among Milim's men. It may be said that it was a difference in conditions and strategy, but Zelario was at fault when he could not prepare for it. In any case, it was no excuse, and the reality was that Melum's team was better than Zelario's team. No wonder Zelario was not amused. So, what are you going to do, Feldway? The statement was a question about Velzard's behavior. He seemed to be planning something, but Feldway left it alone. Zelario thinks that the rapidly changing situation is a major deviation from the original plan, and he wants to say that it is time to change course. And there was one more person who was indignant. That's it. If you had not interfered with me, I would have defeated the divine enemy by now. Let's hear your explanation of what you're up to. Returning to the Heavenly Star Palace, Feldway ordered Mai to visualize the war situation on the ground. He then ordered Zelario to bring back Jahal, who had created a diversion to Lumina's camp. Jahal's action was also too flashy to be called a diversion. Zelario was right to stop him, but Jahal, who was stopped, was not amused. He asked Feldway, as if he was going to attack him. Don't be in such a hurry. You couldn't have taken down Demon Lord Luminous by yourself anyway. What, are you taunting me? I'm not. I only want to proceed with caution. Behold, Daggeril has joined our ranks, and the balance of forces is now greatly in our favor. With Fen as a 3-star general, Luminous is a distant memory. Feldway told Jahal to calm the angry Jahal. However, Jahal's dissatisfaction did not disappear. Yes, I recognize Fen's power. But I have to take care of Luminous, the avenger of our great ancestor, with my own hands. In other words, Jahal's frustration was a grudge born of anger. Whether or not the takeover of Footman had any effect on him is not clear, but his heart was boiling with anger. That is why he attacked Luminous in a somewhat violent manner. When he was stopped, Jahal was so furious that he wondered why he was furious. But the next moment... Can't you hear my words? Was Feldway's quiet, unspoken statement. It was not intimidating, but was uttered in a normal manner. And yet, the air of authority that overpowered the situation caused even Dino and the others who were not participating in the conversation to become tense. No, it was my fault. Jahal regained his composure and immediately apologized. It was a very wise decision. Feldway, your supremacy is poisonous to those who are not accustomed to it. Remember that now that you are in your true form, you are nothing compared to what you used to be. Zelario defends Jahal, and the situation is finally settled. And so they're back to where they started. Currently, Feldway has 3 strategic goals. To get the ultimate skill Hulk King, Serial from Hero Chrono. Eliminate Hero Masayuki as a risk factor. This includes the capture of the ultimate skill Covenant King, Uriel. The most important objective was to get the dragon factor from Vildor. Feldway decided to rethink the objectives. First, he thought about the collection of the authority. Since he has inherited Michael's power, Feldway can identify the angelic ultimate skill. It was Michael, not Feldway, who was concerned about collecting angelic powers. Since he himself was the will that resided in the powers, he thought that he could reach the all-powerful power by consolidating the other powers into one. All-powerful, in other words, the return of the omniscient and omnipotent creator. Although the logic seems to make sense, Feldway was skeptical. The reason is that Valdanava was not omniscient and omnipotent. In the first place, Valdanava himself had said that he had renounced omniscience and omnipotence, so there was no room for doubting his words. On the contrary, Feldway even thinks how nice it would be if Valdanava himself had lied. If it were, he would not have lost his power and been killed by humans. But then again, it is Valdanava himself who has given the humans their desires. The result of this is a cycle of cause and effect, and it is self-inflicted. That is why Feldway did not doubt that Valdanava was not omniscient and omnipotent. For this reason, it did not seem to make sense to look for the missing authority. Moreover, it is meaningless to have all the powers if there are no recipients. Feldway and Michael had planned to manifest Valdanava by using the best body of the lineage of the first heroes as a vessel. However, this plan has completely failed. Michael was defeated and his body was lost. Now that this has happened, he should have thought that Masayuki was no longer a priority. Emperor Masayuki, I hate to be in a losing situation, but victory or defeat is just a matter of time. It's not worth losing sight of the bigger picture. Feldway decided so. Zelario and his team would have no chance against Masayuki, who had the power of true hero Rudra in his hands. Moreover, with Valgrand in their ranks, they would only be beaten back with a half-hearted effort. At least, Feldway himself or Velzard would have to go there, or ask Zelanis. Even if they won the war, there seemed to be little to be gained. Therefore, the objective of the game would be narrowed down. If Masayuki was left alone, there was no point in defeating Hero Chrono. Even if they eventually get rid of Masayuki, there is no need to target him. They could just wait for him to come toward them and avoid dispersing their valuable forces. After all hope is lost, isn't it? Shaking off these fears, Feldway's thoughts came together. So, what are you going to do? Jahal asked impatiently at the right moment. We only target the Vildora factor. However, we need to move in such a way that they don't know our true mission. Feldway then proposed a new strategy. And then, after everyone left, Feldway muttered to himself. Well, will Velzard accomplish what she set out to do? Velzard holds the key to victory in this battle. At least, that's what Feldway thought. Her love is real. If so, the outcome will not be changed. Feldway was convinced of this and smiled coldly at the beauty. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.